At this point, I need my booty rubbed. I need my back rubbed. I need my feet rubbed. I need to be rubbed. Did I say I need my booty rubbed?
So I remember when I was a bit younger, I kept saying, oh, I want to be independent. I want to be able to work, earn my own money, be my own person. I still want all those things. But one day if I meet Emeka, and Emeka has some fine girl, stay at home, can na pocket salary, can aza uriakum. One aza go uriako Emeka, man, forget it. Because these streets are not funny. Look at that side. And I'm supposed to go outside and be walking and be doing independent woman. Are they reconsider all those independence now? No, I can't know.
So if you're like me and you grew up with a Latina single mom, you probably heard something like, tienes que trabajar duro, échale, para que no tengas que mantener, o para que no tengas que depender de un hombre. Basically, like, don't depend on no man, and you've been doing it, you've been, like, killing it, you've been, progressing career-wise, and then you became a mom. And you want to keep killing it, but at the same time, you were like, que me mantengan, no quiero trabajar. Is that just me, or...
This is what happens when you get these modern women from today. See, because what these modern women do is they go from man to man instead of settling down with one man. And when you're just going around having sex with a bunch of men, well, you should expect that your life wouldn't end up the same, considering that you're risking pregnancy with every single man that you sleep with. I don't know. There's nothing you can't kill it no more. According to her, when you have a kid, obviously you can't. These modern women, they think that it's okay to just be independent, take care of their own kid. Well, this is what you get when you want to be independent. You end up with a kid and no husband.
We need to stop telling our little girls to be strong and independent and telling them that they can do anything they want. It sets them up for failure, and let me tell you why. Society is already set up in a way where women have the rights, which is amazing, and we're able to be independent. We can support ourselves and we don't need a man to support us financially. We don't need that. It's already there. And we're just getting it wrong when it comes to telling our little girls to be strong. Strength for women isn't in the doing everything and taking care of ourselves. Strength in feminine energy is about trusting your intuition, but in order to do that, you need to have a connection to your intuition. And we have been raised to not listen to our feelings. It's been a scary place to feel our feelings because it just wasn't allowed as children. And so we spent and have spent and do spend all of our time in our head figuring things out and using our intellect to solve problems. And we take that into relationships and it doesn't work because masculine energy is the thinking and the doing and the strategizing. So this is why we're seeing and see often the butting of heads in relationships. So I want to share with you that if you think that feminine energy is being pretty and girly and letting people or men do whatever they want, kind of like being a doormat and being submissive, it's the opposite. The strength of a feminine energy is being in contact with her feelings and in touch with her feelings and trusting that guidance and having boundaries. So when something doesn't feel right, you can express it in a non-violent way to your partner or to whoever in your relationship, in your life, in a way from your feelings. So that's what strength is for a woman. It isn't being tough and I can handle everything and do everything. Sure, be independent and do all of the things. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is something wrong when you're miserable and you're exhausted and you're just strung out. There is a solution, and it's just tweaking the polarity in relationships, and not just with your man, but in your entire life. If you want to know more, grab the free ebook in my thing on my page.
Okay, you gotta really pay attention to this message, or else you may misunderstand and think that this woman is saying something better than what she is, because she started off the message correctly by saying we gotta stop telling our little girls to be strong. Because the way that women mean that isn't the way that it's not the way that it should be meant to be said, you know? Like a woman can be strong, but in a woman's way, not in a man's way. But the women don't teach the young women that. So that's the problem right there. And she's talking about women not listening to their feelings, and they got to use their intellect. That doesn't work out for women. That's going too far out of bounds from what they should be doing. And if the world was ran on a woman's feelings, the world would be doomed. A woman's feelings changes every 5 minutes. There's no way that you can have anything ran by a woman when their feelings change every 5 minutes. And then as far as their intellect goes, they're not thinking with women's intellect. They're trying to think with a man's intellect, because they're trying to do things that men do. So that's causing imbalance. That's causing problems right there. So a lot of what she's saying in this feminine energy, that message didn't really do it for me. She still has to correct some of the things. But what she said was correct. We got to stop telling our little girls to be strong, because women today don't mean it the way that they should.
I no longer want to be an independent woman. Here's why. I've gone through the struggle of doing everything for myself because I can do everything for myself, but I don't want to have to. In my life, I've seen so many women grow older and just not be treated like queens or like the precious objects that they are. They're surrounded by men and they're like the leader, the person who does it all, who has to lift everything heavy. Like, no, I'm not doing that. For example, tonight in my apartment complex, I go to pick up a package. There's an older woman and her grandson that live here. She is his primary caretaker, and I see him around all the time, like we've gotten well acquainted. But as I'm picking up my package, I see that they're getting their groceries delivered. Okay, cool, no big deal, but they live in a far building. And then this poor little old woman at 8 p.m. with her little teeny tiny grandson is outside trying to carry these groceries in. And they're not simple groceries. They're like cases of water, like multiple cases of water and soda. And she's like struggling to get these cases of water onto the thing. And if you live in an apartment, you already know how difficult it is to carry your groceries up. But then adding on a child with that too, like it's difficult. I'm a single mom, so like I completely understand the struggle, but then I can't even imagine adding on to the fact that I'm an older person trying to do this. So anyway, I ended up saying to my daughter, like, okay, let's help so-and-so get their groceries in their house, because like his grandma shouldn't have to be carrying this stuff and it's wet and slippery. Like, let's just help them because we can. As we're carrying in the groceries with them, all of a sudden these men appear. And at first I'm thinking they're just like other neighbors who live here I just haven't seen because they live in a different building, but they start talking to the little boy. And he's like talking to them, like calling them uncle and stuff. They don't have a grocery in their hand. They literally are walking by me and my daughter and the little boy carrying these groceries in. The one man that's behind us has like 2 gift bags, and there's still a plethora of groceries, and he lets us like put down the groceries we have, go get the other ones, while he still just follows in empty-handed. Meanwhile, we finally get into the apartment lobby, and like I'm giving her groceries, helping her load them onto her cart, and I was just like, yeah, I just didn't want to see you struggle, like, whatever. And the part that really pissed me off the most was the fact that like we put it on the cart, and she is still the one, when there are 2 older men there that can take this heavy cart from her, she is still the one that like brings it down and like rolls it into the elevator. That's the part that made me mad. That's the part that irritates me, because I just can't. I do think that women play a part in this, of like not letting men do things for you, or like just like sucking up your pride, and like we have this whole independent thing, especially in Black women. And I think that's the other part that like irks me, is like she was a Black woman, like an elderly Black woman, and it's just like I feel like in our society, like Black women have to like carry the weight and whatever, and it's just frustrating. And I just like don't want my daughter to see that. I don't want to be that kind of woman. I am a damsel in distress. I'm asking for help, and coming from a person who is like super hyper independent, like
Okay, well, here we listen to this, right? Women want to run household, run corporations. They want to be CEOs. They want to be independent. And they can't even handle carrying some groceries without complaining. Like, this makes no sense at all. Women want to be, this is why these women are finally just a little bit coming to their senses, saying that I want to give up this independent life, because in reality, whether they want to say it out loud or not, they know they can't handle a man's job. We're talking about groceries here. If you can't shoulder the burden of some groceries, how are you going to shoulder the burden of a household? It just makes absolutely no sense. And whether or not, look, a man wouldn't have had to worry about another man coming to help him out. Okay. But you need to worry about that because you're the woman. And it's not an insult to say that you need some help with the groceries or saying that you can't do it. No, it's not nothing like that. But your job as a woman, you got certain responsibilities. Men have other responsibilities. And there's certain things, something as simple as carrying groceries that you can't think about doing without worrying about a man coming to help you. And that's why these women are giving up this life, because they're coming to their senses, at least just a little bit. And honestly, it's just a few of them. It's just a few that realize that life it's not good at all when they don't have a man. But most of these women are still thinking that they can handle things on their own. And they're going to end up like this woman right here, complaining about some groceries.